This presentation is part of the National Mass Violence Center's MVI SNAPS, a virtual educational series designed to provide brief skills-focused presentations about an array of topics relevant to mass violence, including preparation, response, recovery, and resilience. Each SNAP will focus on 2 to 3 specific objectives or takeaways. Today's SNAP webinar focuses on common questions caregivers may have on how to help their children after a mass violence incident occurs on their college or university campus. We are grateful to the Office for Victims of Crime for its support of the SNAPS webinar program. This product was supported by a cooperative agreement awarded by the Office for the Victims of Crime and the Office of Justice Programs, the United States Department of Justice. Opinions, findings, and conclusions or recommendations expressed in this product are those of the contributors and do not necessarily represent the official position or policies of the U.S. Department of Justice. First, I will talk about the learning objectives. Here are the 3 key learning objectives for today's presentation. By the end of this SNAPS webinar, you will be able to, number 1, identify ways to provide support to students after a mass violence incident. 2, describe typical reactions to a mass violence incident. And then 3, list resources to help students after a mass violence incident. After a mass violence incident on a college or university campus, many caregivers are concerned about how to help their child. Feelings of worry and uncertainty are normal and can be heightened if the child lives away from home or if they were on or near campus when the mass violence incident or MVI occurred. One important thing to remember is that you know your child best. There are several things to consider when offering support to your child. Here are some examples. Has your child experienced a traumatic event in the past? Do they have any mental health or psychological difficulties that predate the MVI? Research clearly indicates that prior trauma exposure and pre-existing mental health difficulties can impact how well an individual copes with another traumatic event. This is just important to keep in mind when considering how to help your child. When other kinds of experiences has your child or your family had that might impact the way they respond and deal with an MVI? For example, is your child the first to move away from home to attend college? How far away is the college from home? How often does your child come home? For the remainder of this SNAP, I'm going to address some of the most common questions asked by caregivers after their child experiences an MVI at their college or university. Here are some common questions asked by caregivers. Number 1, the first thing many caregivers ask is how they can support their child in the immediate aftermath. If possible, be physically present. Maybe this is the time to visit campus or have your child come home for a short break. If neither of these are possible or feasible, be emotionally present, reminding your child that they're now safe. Also check in. Ask them specifically how they're feeling and listen without judgment. Remember, there are no right or wrong ways to feel. It may be helpful to offer some suggestions or reminders on things your child can do, such as deep relaxation, breathing, meditation, or engaging in other activities that are calming. Remind your child to reach out and stay connected with friends and other supports, and be sure to check in regularly, whether through more frequent phone calls or even a daily or brief text. Question number 2. Most caregivers struggle with the best ways to talk to their child about the shooting. Some may even worry that bringing it up will make their child more distressed. Here are a few tips or suggestions. Share the most current and reliable information. This will usually be available from campus updates or local law enforcement. Be honest and open with your child. Acknowledge when you don't know the answer to a question, and then try to get them the information they're seeking. Try to focus on concrete steps that can be taken to help your child feel safe. However, avoid making promises that are unrealistic, such as this will never happen again. While that is very unlikely, this is just a promise we can't keep. Share your own feelings and reactions. It's okay to admit that you too feel scared and uncertain. Talk about positive coping strategies you're doing as a way to model and encourage your child to do the same. Question number 3. If your child doesn't feel like talking, don't push them, don't nag. Just let them know you're there and available when they want to talk. Pay attention to any significant lasting changes in their mood or behavior and keep the door open for them to reach out at any time. Question 4. Caregivers often struggle with what they should and shouldn't say when talking with their child. First, it's important that caregivers don't assume that talking about the MVI will cause major distress. Remember, this has already happened, and talking about it doesn't make it happen again. Second, gently encourage your child to share with you their feelings about the event and be sure to validate their emotions. There's no right or wrong way to feel. In terms of helpful statements, consider some of these. I'm glad you're talking with me. What can I do to help you? The feelings you have are normal and to be expected after a traumatic event. There's no right or wrong way you should be feeling. I'm here and I want to help you. Question number 4. In contrast to those types of helpful statements, there are things we should not say to our children. These are examples of statements that caregivers should avoid saying. I know how you feel. No matter how much we love our children, we just can't know exactly how they're feeling. You shouldn't feel this way. Nothing will shut someone down faster than telling them they're feeling the wrong way. You need to move on and put this behind you. This is all also very invalidating and unhelpful. Question number 5. Another issue that comes up quite frequently is how to help those who weren't near the mass violence incident. Maybe they were off campus that day or home at the time, and yet they're still experiencing distress. To help your child who may be struggling with this, let them know that traumatic events can impact anyone who's connected to a campus or community. Also, some students may feel guilt for being distressed when they weren't even there. They may feel like they don't deserve to get help. You can reassure them that seeking help is absolutely okay. Question number 6. While everyone is different, these are some of the most common reactions and changes we see after an MVI. Fear, anger, guilt, trouble sleeping or sleeping too much, a loss or an increase in appetite, headaches and other physical complaints, withdrawal from others, not attending classes, declining grades, increased and maybe even excessive use of alcohol or drugs. Question number 7. Does my child need therapy? Nearly everyone will be distressed after an MVI, but the good news is that most people recover over time. There are, however, some signs that additional help, support, or mental health treatment might be needed. These include severe isolation, significant mood changes, trouble concentrating, self-harm, or even suicidal thoughts. If your child is continuing to have significant symptoms of distress that extend beyond the first few months, it's a good idea to encourage them to seek support and do what's needed to make that happen. A good place to start is to find out what's available on campus. If there are no resources, especially if there isn't someone with expertise in treatments for traumatic stress, it's important to see who else is available in the community or even someone who may be able to offer services through telehealth. Question number 8. When should I encourage my child to seek help? If your child is continuing to have significant symptoms of distress that extend beyond the first few months, and this distress is interfering with school, work, or relationships, it's a good idea to encourage them to seek support and do what's needed to make it happen. Again, a good place to start is on campus. And if there are no resources, and again, if there isn't someone who's available for treating traumatic stress, see who else is available in the community, or maybe they can offer services through telehealth. Help them make that initial appointment. The biggest hurdle is often getting started. Question number 9. Is my child's campus safe? Another very common question is whether the college or university campus is safe. As a caregiver, you yourself may be anxious about your child returning to school or remaining on campus, and your child may share those very same concerns. Remember, campus authorities and the surrounding community are doing everything they can to keep students safe. You can find out what specific steps are being taken to promote safety. If your child has these concerns, again, avoid saying this will never happen again. As we discussed earlier in this webinar, we can't guarantee this, but we do know the probability is very low. Remind your child that folks are working very hard to keep students and staff safe on campus. Number 10, what if my child doesn't want to return to campus? It's possible that because of the MVI, your child doesn't want to return to school. One of the first things you could do is ask them what they're afraid of and what they're concerned about. Try to break their fears, concerns down into steps that can be managed. You could suggest a gradual return to campus if that's feasible. Be sure to review their coping strategies and work together with your child to establish a plan. This can include what they should do if they need help, who they can go to for support, or if they have concerns. And be sure they know what's available on campus and in their community. Number 11, what if I'm feeling anxious or sad? It's not at all uncommon for you to feel worried, anxious, or depressed. It's so difficult to see our children in pain and to worry about their safety. Remember, you also experienced this traumatic event, so pay attention to your own reactions and look for signs of distress. Take care of yourself. Use positive coping strategies. Reach out to loved ones and seek professional help if needed. Some helpful resources. As part of the National Mass Violence Center, we've developed many different resources. Below are links to some that you may find helpful. Transcend is a free self-help mobile app that emphasizes education about an MVI, coping strategies and connections to services for victims and services, financial, legal, and mental health resources. The Virtual Resiliency Center provides resources to help individuals and communities recover from a mass violence incident. There's a variety of text, video, and interactive parts, as well as links to valuable resources. Also, several communities have partnered with the Mass Violence Center to provide information for those who are affected by a mass violence incident. We also have some helpful tip sheets. There have been over 60 created to help individuals and communities who are looking for information and resources. They cover a wide range of issues that may occur with a mass violence incident, such as coping with trauma cues, dealing with the media, coping tips for the holidays, steps to identify a trained therapist, and many others. All of these tip sheets can be found on the National Mass Violence Center website. So, how'd we do? Did we meet the objectives for the SNAP? Are you able to identify ways to support students after a mass violence incident? Can you describe some of the most common or typical reactions after a mass violence incident? Can you list some resources that are available to help your child after a mass violence incident? We hope that the information provided in this SNAPS webinar was helpful to you. Let us know your thoughts about this program or ideas for future ones. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to contact us at the National Mass Violence Center. All SNAPS webinars are posted on our website. Thank you for participating in this MVI SNAPS webinar.
Good.